Greetings and welcome to this episode of the Heal and Restore podcast
Hey, everybody.
with your two marvelous hosts, myself, Randy, and this, I don't know, this one right here, my wife, Cathy.
Hey,
A
everyone.
beautiful bombshell, blonde bombshell, as I call her sometimes.
There you
So,
go.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
my gift from God, and that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
but
you,
anyway,
honey. I like that.
you like hearing that?
I do. I like hearing that.
Well, I always said, you've heard me say it countless times over our 41 years of marriage, that if there's angels on earth, God gave me one.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
And my angel wings are always flapping around.
They're always flapping around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And I am grateful for you, for
Oh,
your patience and your journey that has led me to be who I am today.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep. It just goes to show you that words need to be followed by actions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what's, we've had our ups and downs, but when we speak what we're going to do, we generally fall through.
Yeah. And it's true that when they say actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
I didn't understand that statement for a long time, but that is such a powerful and impactful and empowering statement when it's used and when it's followed through with actions.
When it's followed through with actions. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Actions must follow our words.
Yeah.
And I was told by one of my older mentors that, Randy, every time you promised your wife and family you were going to do this or do that, not drink no more, change your behaviors, your intentions were absolutely 100% honest.
Yeah, I believe
but you just didn't have the power to change.
Or the tools at that time.
At that point, exactly right.
At that time.
And that gave me a great deal of relief too.
Yeah.
When he told me that. So it's not that, I didn't want to change. I did want to change.
Just didn't know how.
Didn't know how to.
Just needed someone to walk alongside you. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. So, before we get started in this week's podcast, we're going to piggyback a little bit off of last week's podcast where we're talking about some love languages. But before we do, I do want to get into a little laundry list here. I just want to let everybody know we are so excited that we have our current book, our most recent book out called Renewing Bonds. And it's Renewing Bonds. It's the 7 steps to restoring your relationship. And this is kind of a follow-up book to our How to Heal and Restore Your Marriage. And, we talk about marriage. We say the word marriage. It's really relationship.
Yes.
And so this Renewing Bonds, this can apply to a marriage. It can apply to just a relationship if you're not actually married.
Right, exactly.
So we encourage you to take a peek at it. And you can go onto Amazon.
Yeah.
You can purchase the book at Amazon. But you can also go to our website at healandrestorecounseling.com and click on the link to get a free PDF copy. You don't get this beautiful covered front and back. You don't get that, but you get the contents. You get the good stuff on the inside in a PDF format. Yeah. So if that's something you're looking for, go to healandrestorecounseling.com, click on the link, and we'll be happy to send that to you.
All of our books are on Amazon.
Yeah.
But Kath, my relationship's fine. Why would I have to read something like that?
Yeah. Tell us why. Why do you have to really read something like that?
It doesn't matter how long you've been married and how
long you've been in a relationship.
How long you've been in a relationship, how long you've been married. It doesn't matter because we can always use new information and things that are just going to improve our already good marriage, things that will enhance our relationship or marriage.
And I would just like to add to that. Now, we've been married 41 years, but we've evolved in 41 years.
Yes.
So where we started 41 years ago is not where we are today. And the reason is because we have evolved and we have had to get new information. We've had to learn new tools.
Yes.
We've run out of ideas because what we were doing wasn't working. So, getting these books and just using them as a tool to enhance your marriage or enhance your relationship it's empowering.
And all really that we would ask that when that you would consider these books, but also get them with an open mind and willingness. Just maybe I can take one thing away from the book. What can I take away? Right, exactly, and then leave the rest.
Yeah, no, it's good. So check it out. Go to Amazon.com. You can purchase our books there, any one of the books, or go to the website, and we will be happy to send you the PDF version.
Yep,
So
no cost.
as I
What about
stated,
what about our special for this month?
oh,
Month
not
month.
this month.
For
It's
the
the
month
first
month.
quarter.
The first
It's the whole
quarter,
first
yeah,
quarter of
yeah.
2025. Yeah, so we just have it on our heart. You know, we pushed out last year in 2024 a little campaign within ourselves to help as many couples as we could, individuals that we could, on their journey of life. And so what we want to do is we've started 2025 with a special. I'm calling it our flash sale. And what we're offering is a 20% discount on our coaching services. But before we even get to the coaching services aspect of what we do offer a free, no cost to you discovery session. It's a 1 hour discovery session. Gives us an opportunity to hear your story, hear what it is that you're needing help on. We share a little bit about ourselves. We think it's very, very important that we connect on a personal level. Because we want to build trust, we want to build relationship. So we offer this 1 hour discovery session for you. We can do it on Zoom if you're not local to us. If you're here in Arizona local, we would be more than happy to have you come to us.
That's our preferred way, as a matter of fact.
It is, but we realize that we're reaching people all over the country and all over the world. So we don't want to miss anybody. And in that discovery session, like I said, you share a little bit about you, what your needs and desires are to change. We share about our story so we can connect to you. And then at that point, if it's something you want to move forward on, we offer a 20% discount on our 12-week coaching service. And that offer is available between now and the end of March. It's the entire first quarter. I think I had said before to March 1st, but the first quarter actually ends at the end of March. So we are happy to offer that 20% discount to you.
Boy, you're awful generous.
I am.
The whole quarter.
The whole quarter,
Wow,
not just the first quarter, but the whole first quarter.
Okay. Well, there goes my paycheck.
Yeah, no, we don't get a paycheck. We do what we do because we love to do.
Yeah,
we love to help. We've been there.
We do not get paychecks.
Yeah. So anyways, if that's something you're interested in, again, you can go to our website at healandrestorecounseling.com, click on the link, reach out to us. We'll get right back to you and set up a time that works for you, that works for us, so we can get you started.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but as I started at the very beginning of this, I'm really excited. We're back to the Q&As that we've asked you, our listeners and friends, to reach out and give us a question that you're interested in. And so we're going to piggyback off of Ashley B's question from last week. And her question last week, if you didn't listen, tune in, you can go back and listen to it, is: my love language is acts of service, and so is my husband's. How do you draw the line between acts of service, of serving your spouse, versus coming across like their mother and making them helpless and or becoming resentful? Some people have been there. I've been there. I get that. So we're going to piggyback off that question. And our question this week comes from Albert. So Randy, what is the question that Albert's asking?
Albert says, or asks, how can you learn to be intentional about your partner's love language? And that's a great question.
Yeah. First of all, you got to know the love language.
Yeah, first of all, you got and so you go to 5lovelanguage.com, you scroll down and you'll see where you can take the assessment quiz, and that's how you'll learn what your love languages are.
Yeah, so being intentional about your partner's love language, though, it is a powerful way to show them love, and it strengthens the connection between the two of you.
Yes.
We actually just did it ourselves just a little bit ago because we haven't done it for several years. And sometimes those love languages can change a little. And we did discover that yours changed, actually.
Yeah, and mine changed. And you brought up a very good point. It went from words of affirmation to physical touch. And why don't you explain why you feel that mine changed? I thought it was a very valid point.
Yeah, I think the reason that words of affirmation, not that they're not important, because I think that is your secondary, or no, it was your third one.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the reason for you, in your case, that they changed is your confidence changed as your recovery journey started, and from where you are, and we're coming up almost on 20 years later.
Yep.
And so I think as a result of the work that you've done, it has built confidence in yourself. You have better understanding of your why and your actions and your behaviors.
Yes.
That the words of affirmation, I don't want to say that they're not important, because they are important. They're just not your top priority any longer, because you have worked through and built the confidence within. So the confidence is within you. It doesn't have to come from others as much as it did before.
It's almost like when first got in recovery, I heard the saying, "It's none of my business what you think of me,
What other people think.
what
Yeah.
other people think of me."
Hmm.
And that's a hard lesson to learn because for a lot of people that have, and a lot of people have been abused, we're seeking those words of affirmation that we never received as a child.
Right.
And so, we carry it into our adulthood. But through the process of recovery, one of the things that we hope you learn, and that's our goal, is that you learn to love yourself,
Hmm.
right? Now, does it mean I don't need Kathy to affirm me now and then? No, absolutely not. She needs to be affirmed. I think everybody needs
We
to
all
be
do.
affirmed.
Yeah.
But why? I guess again, it comes down to motive.
Hmm.
I like to say that. What's the motive behind it?
Hmm.
And like Kathy said, my motive is because man, I just didn't. You want to know it by looking at me in my life, but no self-esteem and self-worth and self-confidence was just shot.
It was out the door. Yeah.
It was out the door.
Yeah.
So
So as you journeyed on your recovery journey, you built those up
yes,
where the words of affirmation weren't as important.
right.
They're important, but they weren't the top priority for
No,
you.
exactly.
And so that's
Exactly.
good. And I still am quality time.
Quality time. Right.
You know, I'm a people person. And so quality time is important to me. And that's quality time with you, quality time with my kids, my grandkids, my friends. You know, it's just, I like being around people. So we're going to jump back into Albert's question here, though. And it just kind of, we wanted to share that we've
Yeah.
just recently done that.
Again.
But there's some mindful ways that we can be deliberate about expressing our love in a way that resonates with our partner.
Yes.
And so the very first one we want to talk about, and we kind of touched on it briefly, was identifying and understanding their love language. We can't practice something if we don't know what it is. So as Randy mentioned, Dr. Gary Chapman, he created this, and he describes words of affirmation as a love language, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So if you're not sure of what your partner's love language is, and you're not even sure of your own, go on to the 5lovelanguages.com website and take the assessment. It doesn't take very long. And it explains those love
Yeah,
languages.
that's another thing is that it gives you an explanation of what each of those love languages are and what they consist of.
Yeah, because just knowing them isn't going to be as beneficial as understanding them.
Exactly. And I think that, in most cases, like Kathy and I, most people we know that have done it, we find them to be point on.
Yeah, they're pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
And as we mentioned, they will evolve over time too.
Yes,
And
yes,
just like
absolutely.
Randy's has too. So, once you know what their love language is, spend some time reflecting on what specific actions or words make them feel valued and appreciated.
Yeah.
It's just you got to take some time to really understand and
Yeah,
know.
exactly. That we have to have those conversations with our partner as well.
Yeah, and then the second thing you can do is learn to express love in their preferred way,
Yeah.
not yours. So without the love languages, I could have been expressing my love to you in a way that you couldn't receive it. And so knowing your love language gives me the best opportunity to express it
Right.
in a way that you receive it.
Exactly.
So it's common to show love in a way that we prefer to receive it.
Yeah,
We want it that way.
exactly. And it's not going to happen overnight. Oh, okay, this is my love language. This is my partner or spouse's love language. Boom, I'm going to start doing it. We have to remember that we've been um, certain behaviors and languages are instilled in us that we've had most of our lives. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute. How am I going to switch from, physical touch to words of affirmation when, first of all, you might not have ever received words of affirmation as a child growing up, right? So how does that look? What are those words of affirmation meant? So that's why it's important to talk.
Yeah, and so it's not uncommon to have different love languages between the two of you.
Absolutely.
So, for example, if your love language is acts of service, but theirs is physical touch, we have to learn to prioritize ways that we make them feel close and connected physically, even if it's not your first instinct. So, for example, yours is physical touch. I'll be honest with you and transparent. Physical touch was the very last one for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't there, but I have to learn how to connect with you through physical touch so that you know and feel loved and feel
Right.
valued.
And I was talking to Kathy about that when we did the assessment. I says, "Yeah, but you love physical touch." She goes, "Yes, I do. I love the way you touch me and the way we touch each other, but it's not a priority to me like the quality time is." So it's not that she doesn't like physical touch.
Right.
It's just that it's not one of the
It's
priorities.
not my big desire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
When we know that, that's okay.
But she loves it.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I don't love you or
Right,
that
exactly.
it's not a priority for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So another thing you can do, the third thing we talk about, is you can regularly plan activities or actions around their love language. So what that might look like is you might make a habit to incorporate their love language into your weekly routine. For the example I have here is if you are quality time. You gonna make it there, honey?
Yeah, I guess I'm done with it.
If your love language is quality time like mine is, plan uninterrupted moments together, like a dedicated date night or a weekend activity that you both enjoy.
Right.
Now, my quality time is coming this weekend. I'm getting away with my daughter-in-law and two of my grandkids to my daughter and son-in-law's home with my other three grandkids to spend time with family. I can't wait.
Family and extended family.
Family and extended family, yeah.
Daughter-in-law's grandmother's 85th birthday.
85th birthday, yeah.
So,
getting away and having quality time, I mean, just plan it. It's something that's important. It brings value to me. It fills my soul. It really does.
And Cathy's going with my daughter-in-law and the two grandsons, the granddaughter and grandson we have out here, and I'm choosing to stay at home. Right? It's just not that I want to be with them. It's just I'd rather stay at home this weekend. I have a hard time traveling back and forth to California.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we really just need to set aside intentional time to focus on your spouse's or your partner's love language and show thoughtful ways that you care. And it helps them to feel loved. Like me going to California this weekend, even though you're not going, I still feel loved because you're like, go have fun, enjoy that quality time with your family.
It's not like she didn't, she goes, do you want to go? I go, do you care if I don't go? She goes, no, not really. I'll be all right.
Even though quality time is my love language, I don't have to have it all with you.
Right, exactly.
We get to spread it out.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I mean, even with some of the women you work with too, you gotta have a lot of quality time with some of them women that you work with, sitting down with them and talking to them.
Yeah.
That's quality
It feeds
time.
me.
It feeds you.
As much as I'm helping them, they're helping me too. So it's beautiful. And then a fourth way you can work towards, magnifying those love languages and really being intentional is get creative with some reminders. If you have to set a reminder on your phone, or if you make notes, don't neglect just because you know what it is. Just don't throw it in the basket. Forget about it, because it's not natural for a lot of us, and so we have to be intentional about creating reminders.
One of the things I used to do, for instance, if your partner or spouse's love language is words of affirmation. Now, just because it might not be words of affirmation does not mean they don't love them. Right. So one of the things I used to do with Cathy is there was a book, I love you because, right? And it would just be a little sticky note. I would say, I love you because you make me laugh. And I would put it on her steering wheel, right? So when she got in the car to go to work in the morning, she would see that.
Yeah.
There's just little tiny words of, and then the fun thing
I was going to say the funniest one. I think I know where you're going with this.
I would prep, she liked to make some boiled eggs, hard-boiled eggs to take to work with her. So I get up in the morning and I'd boil the eggs for her, and I'd get them all ready for them. But then as I would get them ready, I would write these silly little scripts on them with faces of the eggs talking to each other, and I wrap them in paper towels. And so she didn't know I was doing it until she got to work, and she'd unwrap the eggs, and then she would bust up laughing, and the whole office would get a giggle out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So words of affirmation, even though it might be third or fourth for me, was still valuable. Exactly. I still felt loved. I still felt connected.
Right.
So that was fun. That was a fun time. I won't ever forget that either.
I want to say this too, because this can get a little bit confusing, I think. It's like, the Bible tells us to do unto others as you'd have them do unto us. Right. And so oftentimes we will love our partners in ways that we want to be loved. And that's, I believe that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's oftentimes I'll talk with Cathy and I go, hey, you know how I talk to you? Just talk to me the same way.
Right.
Right. And so it's not that. I think it's probably natural for us to talk to our partner or spouse in the way that we want to be loved. but it's not negating their number one
Love language. Yeah,
right? Because I know
absolutely.
quality time, you love spending time with
Yeah.
me or with family.
Yeah, no. And yeah, that's so, so true. And the fifth thing that I have for you is to be present and genuine. And that's
Yeah,
so, so
absolutely. Yeah.
important. So, you know, when you're expressing the love language, when you're expressing love through their love language, be fully present. And so an example I can give you is if your love language is physical touch, make sure you're making eye contact.
Yeah.
Make sure you're making eye contact with
Yeah,
them.
like yesterday in the car.
Yeah, give your full attention, and make sure there's no distractions around you, because physical touch, it's not just touch, it's being present
Yes.
and genuine in those moments.
It's like, for instance, when we're watching TV. Now, it's not every minute of every day or every hour of every day. It's not every day. But like one thing Cathy will do is when we're watching TV in the evening, just two of us, sometimes she's on one end of the couch and I'm on the other, and that's okay. I mean, we're there together, but oftentimes
That's quality time for
that's
me.
quality time for Cathy, right? And it's
Yeah.
like we don't have to speak a whole lot. I mean, we've been married for 41 years. What else can we tell each other? I mean,
That we haven't already said.
yeah, we haven't already said
But
it.
there is things.
But the physical touch part for me is she'll come over quite often and she'll just lay her head on my lap, right? And what that relays to me, the number one is physical touch, and I love it. But what she's saying to me in a nonverbal way is, I trust you, and you make me feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to just go through the motions.
No.
We want to actually approach each gesture with sincerity and intention.
Exactly.
And I think that's for me, that's how I feel when I'm doing that. I know that fills your cup.
Right.
And I want to fill your cup. I want to be present. I want to be genuine about how I fill your cup.
And the other thing I've been noticing too about Cathy, and it's, when you're first going out, you wrap your arm around each other when you're walking, or you might hold your hand, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then as as your marriage develops, your relationship develops, the hand holding might go away a little bit now. But recently I've noticed Cathy will be out in public and she just grabs my hand. And here's the other part of that, is that it's important that you let your partner or spouse know, and that you notice that they're doing these things.
Right.
That, hey, I've noticed lately, and I appreciate the fact that you're being a lot more affectionate with your physical touch. Or, one thing Cathy's done is around the house, she's just been a lot more, I'll say, flirty, right? But she can do it all she wants, but I have to let her know, hey, I've really noticed, man, you're being a lot more playful and flirty around the house, and I love it.
Yeah, and that kind of leads to the sixth point here we have, is to express the love languages in small, everyday moments.
Exactly.
And so what you've just explained is that, being consistent with those small acts of love, that can go a long way for somebody. And let me just share real quick though, on acts of service. So if act of service is your love language, consider helping with tasks like making coffee in the morning, running an errand to relieve their stress. If it's receiving gifts, pick up a small thoughtful item. It could be a flower. It could be a nice little card, something like that. But these daily gestures will help reinforce their love language without requiring a big, grand, or infrequent gestures. If you do it daily, if you do make everyday small moments of love language task, it goes a long way.
So, for instance, every morning, Cathy gets a cup of coffee in bed.
That's perfect.
She didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
I've just been doing it.
Yeah.
I've done it for a long time.
Most of our marriage, actually.
Most of our marriage, yeah. And I get up early, she doesn't. That's okay. It's just what we do. And like, for instance, the other day we were getting ready for our group, our small group, and we didn't buy enough meat. We thought that there was enough meat, and it ended up, well, there's not enough meat. And the reality was there was in the long run. So she goes, Randy, can you run in town? And it's a 12-mile run in town, which is fine. She goes, but could you go get some more meat for us? And I said, yeah. Let me shower real quick, and I'll run into town for you. Right. So
acts of service is my secondary one.
Right. So. Exactly. So it's those little gestures like that. They really do mean the world, whether it's physical touch, affirmations, gifts, or
quality
access
time.
to quality time, whatever it is. Our partners do really appreciate it. Sometimes it takes time for them to realize that you're doing it out of love and not out of obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working
That's
with
good.
a couple couples right now that we're kind of breaking that
Yeah,
chain.
we want it to be out of love, not an
Yes.
obligation or a responsibility. But this kind of leads into this next area too, that I think is so, so critical because we can just assume all we want.
Yes.
But we need to ask for feedback and then we need to be willing to adjust
Yes.
when needed. So don't hesitate to check in with your partner and ask if they're feeling loved in ways that you're showing it. Because I might be showing you what I think is a good, healthy physical touch, but it's not really what physical touch is for
Right.
you.
Right.
So we have to learn to communicate and be open and willing to adjust to those communications. Now, if you went around and said, my acts of service is, or my love language is physical touch, and I want you to hold my hand all the time, that's probably not going to happen.
No, that's actually
But if
ridiculous.
I'm not holding your hand and you want more hand holding, you need to be willing to say, I really would like it if you just hold my hand every now and then. And I have to excuse me, be willing to adjust.
You got
to
a frog in your
that. I
throat.
do. All of a sudden, my frog showed up.
Well, in that,
Because constructive feedback is valuable.
I need you to hold my hand all the time is need. That's needy.
Yeah.
That's not, so we have to be very intentional with the love language that we're
And communicate it.
and communicate it to our partner in a
Yeah.
way that they understand. These love languages, like I say, it takes time to adapt to them. It's going to be a new behavior for us.
Well, especially if you're not familiar with them.
Yeah. Oh, and here's what I wanted to say that I got left my mind for a minute, but I've heard it before. Well, if you don't like the way I am, it's too bad because this is just the way I am. Oh, bad attitude. No, you can change. What that tells me, what that tells your partner, spouse, what that would tell Cathy is, I don't give a crap about what you want.
I'm not willing.
I'm not willing to make the change. I don't want to make the change because this is who I am and I'm not going to change. So learn to live with it. Man, I'm telling you.
That makes a relationship very, very difficult.
Very toxic.
There's a lot of walls that go up with that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just be open to adjust. Be open and willing to listen and be present in those times of communication. Really, really important.
I actually witnessed that exact scenario in a men's group I was in. Guy came in, he'd been coming to this men's group for a long time. It was all about change, recovery's about change. And he showed up one day, pretty wealthy, well-to-do off Canadian, walked in and said, I just decided this is how God created me, and I ain't gonna make one single change. You accept me how I am, or you don't. Period.
Probably how he created himself.
Oh, man,
or his environment created him, not God.
In for a world of hurt.
Yeah, yeah. So the whole key on all of this too is learn to speak fluently in their language. Study it, understand it. Take time to get comfortable with their love language. Yep. And again, if it's words of affirmation, think about how you can sincerely express appreciation, admiration, and encouragement to another. If it's physical touch, find ways to incorporate affectionate gestures more frequently, whether it's hand holding or coming up and rubbing your shoulders or just giving you a kiss on the cheek, something that's going to find ways that you can incorporate that so that partner, that spouse feels loved.
So as I'm saying, it's going to take time for a spouse or partner to learn the love language and learn how to give that love language. I want to reverse it because it's going to take time for the one receiving it to learn how to receive it with grace, because a lot of times when we've heard it, well, you're just doing it out of obligation. No, I'm not. It might, and there's reasons why they feel that way. So that's what Cathy and I we will work with people on that. So no, it's not obligation, and we get them involved in a conversation where they can talk that out. Right. And so that's the other part of this, as well as me learning how to give Cathy her love, talk to her with her love languages. She has to learn how to receive them, which she has. But I mean, when you first start,
but practicing consistently, learning to speak their love languages, it will become more natural, and it'll reinforce that you're invested in making them feel valued. And I think that's what it is. It's going to take time, but the more you do, it's like anything else. The more we do it, the more comfortable we become, and the more natural it becomes.
It's going back to that last statement I just made. Let's just say that Cathy is quality time, right? And she's having a hard time accepting the quality time I want to give her. This is a hypothetical, right? So on my part, or your part, the part of the giver, right, and your partner spouse is having a hard time receiving it, we have to remind them that, hey, I'm giving this to you out of my heart. I hear you're having a hard time accepting. Where's the barrier? This is where intimacy comes in.
What can I do different?
What can I do different? Yeah. What's the barrier that's keeping you from accepting
and receiving?
And receiving, accepting, same thing, right? What's the barrier that's keeping you from accepting and receiving these love languages that I'm working very hard on giving to you?
Yeah.
Right. Basically, so that's where these conversations, you can't just throw your hands up and say, oh man, this ain't working. She don't care about this. No, your job as a giver is to help her understand.
Yeah.
And help her understand where her barriers are at.
Right.
His barriers are at.
Right. That's good. And this one is probably one of my favorite ones. Anything with a celebration is great. But you want to make sure that you celebrate special occasions with the love language in mind. So, quality time for me. I love a good party. I'll be celebrated all day long. In fact, I felt really loved. We had just moved here and we'd only been here a year, and I went back to California with Naomi and the kids, and they created a surprise birthday party for me. And I felt the love. And so, looking at special occasions, maybe it's an anniversary, maybe it's a birthday party, do something keeping the love language in mind. If yours is physical touch, now physical touch, I know you love from me, but physical touch could be a darn good massage for you,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where keeping the celebrations of birthdays and anniversaries and special moments, keep that love language in mind when you're setting that up.
When does your car expire? Your license plate?
7/25.
And what's 7/25?
That's my birthday, July 25th.
Oh my God. So because she's got that tag on her car, it says expiration 7/25. She celebrates every day.
I do.
It's a reminder every day. And that's what I love about Cathy.
Yeah.
Right. Her silliness, her goofiness, right? So I do give her a hard time, and she knows it's just all in fun.
Yeah, it's love.
But so I celebrate that part of Cathy.
Yeah.
She is a silly woman. She likes to have fun. I wish she would let me tickle her more in tickle fights, but
my last love language is physical touch, so that's probably why it doesn't happen.
I think we should have a pillow fight.
Oh no, that hurts. So as we close out this episode, the very last thing I want to share and talk about is expressing love languages together when possible. This is where it's key. Sometimes we can blend our love languages together. For example, mine's quality time, but if yours was acts of service, we could spend time cooking a meal together.
Yeah.
Working on a shared project. So look for things that you can express your love language together, both your love languages at the same time. Combining them can be fun and a meaningful way to show love, and it also builds that connection. I mean, I think most of us, community connection, the C's are so important in our lives. And so if we can find ways that we can connect through our love languages and enjoy things together, being intentional with the love languages, it requires a lot of effort, but it brings a deeper understanding. It brings us closer together and just an overall mutual appreciation of each other. I know for me that works.
Yeah. Here's something really to think about. We get married, right? It could be young, we could be middle-aged, whatever. We get married, and it's rainbows, bubbles, and unicorns, right? And that's perfectly okay. And we're in love with each other. And then we get married, and then like in the younger generation, when we're married, and we got careers we're starting to work on, then we have kids, and you get, then it's like these love languages seem to go by the wayside, so to speak. We forget,
life gets busy.
Life gets busy. And like Cathy said, that's why you can take this love language a couple different times, things will change. And it's like, I used to tell Cathy, I understand we're busy, right? But we cannot let the flame go out.
Right.
Right. It's gonna flicker. We got to keep it lit at all times in our marriage, because if not, when the kids are gone and it's just the two of you, and you're going,
now what?
Now what?
Who are you?
right?
Can you tell we've done that?
Yeah, I mean, exactly, because we've been so attached to our careers and raising our children,
Yeah.
which is okay.
We have to do that. We want to do that.
Your number one ministry is your marriage, is your spouse,
your family,
right? Is your family. But number one is your spouse, and then your children come below that. And when your children get old enough to leave the nest, they're on their own. We're there to support them, right?
Absolutely.
But still, we are each other. We make each other number one every day.
Yeah,
that's something we decided to do several years ago. Our children are very important to us. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah, no,
right?
That's good. So
these love languages are going to be important to at a minimum, just work as hard as you can to keep them going throughout your marriage.
Right. Yeah. So if you found this helpful, I mean, it was helpful to us to have these questions because it gives us an opportunity to go back and redo the assessment. But if you've never done it, or if it's been some time, do it again. Take the love language assessment again. Sit down with your partner, your spouse, and have the conversation. Utilize some of these tools here and reconnect in a way that maybe you got away, like you said, got away, life got busy. But don't, tailoring your love to meet your partner's needs shows them that you truly see them and they're valued. And that's what we want. We want to be seen. Not only does it strengthen that, it strengthens our overall bond over time.
Right.
We build on that foundation. So I love this.
Yeah, I do too. And there's so much more I could talk about with love languages and how to treat your spouse. And,
that's probably a whole nother.
I always say this: one of you has to be the hero.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have learned and taken in so much information over the years that some of it's up here in the vault, right? And like, for instance, you hear this, you want to hug your spouse for 6 seconds. It's easy, right? And I've started doing that almost daily. I'll come up to Cathy, okay, time for 6 seconds, and I'll just hold her. And she buries her head into my shoulder and just lets me hold her.
Yep, we just need to connect.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing your love languages gives you the best opportunity for connection.
Absolutely, 100%.
That was good. Love it, love it, love it.
Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Good. I think it was great. I'm just going to go out there and say, I know that we have a handful of listeners that utilize our podcast weekly. I would encourage you to share it with somebody.
Right.
We know that you've probably already liked it, but pass it on to somebody. If this particular episode or any of our episodes stood out to you, share it with somebody who you think will benefit from it. And even if you don't think they'll benefit from it, sometimes we don't know what was spoken and how it will resonate with them. So I'm going to do a call to action. We did not even discuss this. This call to action just came to me. If you're listening to this podcast, send it to 5 people that may not be connected to Heal and Restore right now.
Right.
Send it to 5 people.
Or even if they are.
And even if they are, but send it to 5 people that you don't think are connected to Heal and Restore. And say, hey, this is a podcast I think it would be great for you to listen to. Take a listen, pass it along.
Right.
Let's start pushing that out. We want to reach more people because we know that the information that we have will help somebody.
And there is a lot of information out there, and we understand that.
Yeah,
I think where Cathy and I come from is we have experienced personally everything that we talk about.
Yeah.
It's not coming from some of it's books, but 99% of what we talk about is all based on personal experience through our own journey. We've worked with therapists one-on-one, both of us, but also they've mentored me a lot and Cathy, and there is some education in there too. So
absolutely.
But
they get the best of all worlds.
They get the best of all worlds, and the one thing that we have heard is that you guys' experience is what you bring into this, and that's how we connect.
So 5 people.
Yep.
Share this podcast with just 5 people, and then let's spread it around. So thank you.
We appreciate y'all.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
Anything else?
No.
Are you done?
Yes.
You sure? Oh, she got me. See?
Physical touch. I just touched you.
That's the wrong kind of physical touch, though, for goodness sake.
All right, we got to laugh.
Okay. All right. So remember this. If nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does.
Cathy does.
More importantly, God does. We bless everybody. Have a fabulous week.